Hello and welcome to Agric Connect. My name is Annette Mtetra, your favorite host, and today we are here deep in the nestled heart of Goromonzi, where we see a greenhouse project that is thriving and turning heads with the quality produce of tomato that they are putting on the market. Now, we know greenhouse farming is an alternative type of farming that brings you quality produce, but not only does it bring you quality produce, it also covers your tomatoes, your peppers, and your English cucumbers in such a way that it protects them from pests and diseases from the outside. Outside of having a controlled environment, you've got the advantage of getting a good yield from this type of controlled environment. You are looking at an English cucumber that can give you 30 to 40 fruits per plant. You are looking at a tomato yield that can yield from up to 18 to 20 kgs per plant. Now, greenhouse tomatoes are something that most farmers find difficult to do because of the amount of startup that is required to get your tomato going within the market. We are looking at a high startup, but within the long run, you are looking at a tomato that will give you not only high yields, but good quality and high prices within the market because of the quality and shelf life of these tomatoes. Greenhouses have become an enterprise that most farmers are taking up in the country of Zimbabwe because of how much profit and returns you can get as a farmer from your actual greenhouse. Now, here we see a crop that is thriving, a crop that is disease-free, and a crop that is healthy. This means that with a greenhouse project, as a farmer, you are looking at higher returns for the higher returns that you will have put in as a farmer in terms of inputs and actual building of the greenhouse. Now, we have different types of materials that are used when erecting a greenhouse. We've got farmers that use plastics with different types of microns. We've got farmers that use shade nets when they're coming up with their greenhouse structures. But all these greenhouses affect our crops in different ways. For example, with a plastic greenhouse, it is desirable during the time where you have massive cold and frost, just as the season we are coming out of. But with a shade net greenhouse, you allow a controlled environment that is actually allowing good aeration during the hot summer periods, such as the one that we are entering into. So what are we saying here, farmers? A greenhouse enterprise is something that can give you high returns and high profits. It is something that you can venture into and realize a good market share in terms of who you supply with this high quality tomato that you get with a good shelf life that is controlled within the environment of the greenhouse. Now, join us in the next segment as we are joined by the farmer and the brains behind this beautiful enterprise that we see in here, so we can get snippets from this farmer on how they've managed to put together such an excellent greenhouse tomato project, how they have managed to keep it disease free, and how they are managing to get an excellent yield such as the one that we are seeing behind us with us today here. Hello and welcome back to Agric Connect. Today we are touching on the mastering of greenhouse tomato production. We are here in Goromonzi and we are joined by Melissa, who is going to tell us how they have mastered the actual production of tomato in a greenhouse. Hi Melissa, how are you today?
I'm okay, Annette, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having us and joining us today. Tinotarisira kudzidza zvakawanda nedomasi renyu raminaro mu greenhouse umu. Tinotarisira kudzidza sevarimi kuti pane musiyano wakaita sei pane domasi rinoiswa mu greenhouse nedomasi rinoiswa panze.
Madomasi atinoisa mu greenhouse tinomati ma-indeterminate varieties, meaning kuti anoreba, anokura achienda mudenga. Mukatarisa domasi ini ndati mupfupi ruradzo richiri kutoenda. Then ane continuous supply yema-fruits. Mukatarisa takatangira kwa-first up, ndopewe ne-first cluster, pakauya second, pakauya third year, fourth, saka ari kuramba achienda. ndo ma-indeterminate varieties atinoisa mugreenhouse. Then pa-open field tinoisa ma-determinate varieties. Ma-determinate haazoreba like this, anenge ari bush kudaro obva atipa tingachivana mafruits aye akawandawo kawanda but haazotipe kunge mafruits yield yatinopiwa nema-indeterminate varieties.
Saka pane nguva here yekuti munotowana mafarmers achiisa aya ma-determinate varieties ekunze mugreenhouse? Zvine advantage here kuti ndiise determinate variety mugreenhouse?
Kuti unge uchiisa determinate variety mugreenhouse zvakuenderana nema-reasons ako. Let's say waita market research obvaona kuti ndikaisa domasi rangu rikabuda muna Feb market prices anenge ari favorable, that way unogona kuisa determinant mugreenhouse. Reason yako iri kuti une a certain period chete yawakangotargeta, ndopa unokwanisa kuisa determinant ndokuti richakupa yield yakawanda ka1 obva watosupply market yangu uchida, then watoita ma-returns
ako.
Yes.
So it's all about assessing the market as a farmer, wona kuti pandiri kupinda apapa market prices angu anenge akamira sei. Okay, thank you for that insight, Melissa. Pa domasi ratinaro iri mataura kuti rinoreba richienda kumusoro. Parinosvika kumusoro ukoko muri kuriita sei? Uyezve patiri kutarisa apa tiri kuona kuti tine stem 1 iri kureba ichienda kumusoro. Sevarimi tinoziva kuti domasi rinogona kutipa ma-stems anenge akati wandei. How do we train our plant kuti rimaintain stem 1 irororo?
Isu tino maintain one stem. Kune vanosiya ma-double stem, koita asi isu tino prefer single stem. Reason for single stem is fruit size yedu. Tikureva kuti chikafu cheplant redu chakuconcentrata pa1 stem nekufeeda mafruits ari ipapa. Ndo zvatinonyanyoita kuti tisiye one stem. So zvatinoita domasi parinototanga rinotongotanga richitonge rikuda kutounza ma-branches akawanda, then tinobva tatogara tatanga kupruna tichitobvisa that stem and toramba tichimaintaina. Saka mukatarisa domasi redu haritorina masakasi, notinototi pakaitonge pabuda saka, that's another stem, tobva tatogara tatoribvisa kudara.
Wow, that is amazing, Melissa. Saka apa pamunotarisira kuharvesta nguva yakareba sei domasi iri, uyezve yield yamuri kutarisira padomasi iriri pe plant inenge yakamira sei?
Per plant chete tikungotarisira a minimum yield of 15 kgs per plant chete, and tinokwanisa kuzviachieva nekuti per cluster redu kungoti apa mamwe mafruits tatomabvisa kudhara, cluster redu rinotipa kg plus. Saka mukatarisa izvezvi tatobvisa mamwe macluster takaharvesta apa 1 2 3 4 5 6 anotonosvika pa15 titori somewhere here. Saka tikungoda a minimum of 15 kgs chete per plant, and tichi per week tinogona pick about a kg from one plant, because a cluster rinenge from 8 to 15 fruits running ari per plant. Saka tongoti mune kukura kwegreenhouse tinoharvesta almost every day.
Ma-plants enyu akawanda sei muno mugreenhouse?
Muno greenhouse, this one is a 1,500 square meter greenhouse, and plant population mune about 5,100 plants ndo ari muno. So ndiri kuedzoreva kuti patiri kuharvesta nenyaya yesize inenge ine mamwe mafruits edu, about 4 kana 5 mafruits anogona kutokupa a kg apo tamatema per cluster tisina kutopedza cluster iyoyo. Saka yield yedu ndeyekuti patiri kuharvesta pachona tiri kubudisa zvekuma 3 tons 5 tons per
just
week.
From the size of a greenhouse?
Yes.
Apa mataura nyaya yemaclusters, harvest period inenge yakamira sei? Muri kuharvesta nguva yakareba sei madomasi?
Isu plant redu tinongoita kuti tingoharvesta 15 maclusters chete ndo tinongomaintain. Saka tinongonida about 5 to 6 months tinenge takutorita let go, no tinenge chitoreva kuti return yedu per plant matoi
achiva. Saka nekureba kwarinoita domasi tiri kutoona kuti rakutosvika kumusoro. Parinosvika kumusoro, how do you train your plant kuti murambe muchiharvesta maclusters enyu asi iro rasvika kumusoro?
Tinoita yatinoti dropping down. Dropping down ndeyekuti tinotoya toto-opena pane trellising clip yedu tobva tatoita kakumova plant redu. So at first kana mugreenhouse medu, like in this greenhouse, space yachona yakawandira kumashure, so tinotangira kulast plant tichidzosera kubvisa this one position yari tichirisebedza uko. in that way rinenge rashort nekuti tarirebesa kunge taradzika plant redu ndo zvatinoita kuti tikwanise kuramba tichimamanager ari palevel ratinosvikira.
So Melissa, after understanding that we keep this crop for 3 months, how long do you look to harvest from this crop?
In total tingati muno mu greenhouse tinozotora about 9 months tine crop, and the first 3 months there's from transplanting up to first harvesting, so tozoverenga another 6 months from first day ratinotanga kupika harvest kusvika tipedza.
Zvirwere zvamunosangana nazvo muno mu greenhouse. We understand kuti a greenhouse is a controlled environment, meaning zvirwere nezvipukanana zvamunosangana nazvo muno mu greenhouse zvinenge zviri zvishoma. But from your experience, what are the most common diseases and pests that you've encountered on this particular crop redomas?
This greenhouse mablights ndo imwe challenge inowanzoitika kumatomatoes, but nenyaya yekuti pamwe mishonga yatinoshandisa hatisati edu challenge yemablights. Challenge yatakange taitenga iri yeGummy rot, asi takakwanisa kushandisa mishonga yakaratidza kuti yakabva yamira seapa yakange yaafecta from here, asi apa takabva tatoimisa plant redu raakutocontinue.
Mungatiudzewo kuti chii chinokonzeresa chirwere ichi chamataura chinonzi Gummy rot?
Gummy rot inonyanyoti affecta munguva yechando, so I believe kuti zvine chekuita neweather, nekuti kana tingori munguva yechando ndo patinowanzo affectwa nechirwere ichochi.
We managed to touch on the aspect of diseases that are found within the greenhouse, or that you've experienced at least within this greenhouse. Yes. Are there certain pests as well that are prevalent within the greenhouse anowanikwa pamadomasi?
Challenge yemapest inowanika kumatomatoes ituta, kune tuta absoluta, ne-red spider, nema-whitefly. Those 3 ndo anonyanyoshungurudza varimi vakawanda. So tinongocontrola kuti tinenge tine a certain spraying program, and pa spraying program yedu tinomake sure kuti tinoita 2 weeks tichishandisa 1 product remushonga to avoid resistance, then tozoshifta toenda pane another product.
Saka pakutarisa ma-products aya semurimi, what do I need to look at that differentiates one chemical from the other in terms of kudzivirira resistance yamambotaurai?
Semurimi aufana kutarisa name, like branding name. Those names anogona kusiyana but unotenga mushonga 1. Mukatarisa pa each container remushonga panenge paine pakanyorwa chemical composition. Ipapo ndo patinotarisa, ndo panokwanisa kutiudza kuti mushonga uyu wakasiyana nemumwe uyu.
As a takeaway, I'm sure most farmers are keen to know the actual profits that can be realized from a greenhouse of this magnitude. Mungatipewo here just as a general snippet.
Greenhouse tomatoes, usually our target market is supermarkets, because my bigger tomatoes. So for now, kumarket kwedu price yedu ranges from 40 cents a kg up to $1 something, depending nekuti kumarket kwakamira sei. So mukatarisa ndati per plant redu tikuda kuwana a minimum of 15 kgs. So 15 kgs 20 times 40 cents per kg.
Guys, that seems like a very high price. It means our market price right now is generally very good.
Yes.
Aiwa makataimira domasi renyu nguva iri right, tikuona kuti munguva yechando chino ichi vashoma vanenge vainaro domasi, meaning your market price right now going into the next month or so inenge iri favorable.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Melissa, for those insights. I'm sure as a farmer who is hoping to venture into tomato production, this is actually a venture or a project that's worth looking into.
Yes.
Thank you again for having us, Melissa. So that was it on mastering tomato production in the greenhouse, farmers, from our fellow farmer Melissa, who shared insights on her experience with greenhouse tomato production. As you can see, they're getting their money back, they're getting their returns back from the venture that they have gone into, from the actual erection of the greenhouse to selecting the right variety and to bringing it to this stage where they've harvested for 2 months and are getting good money back with the market price that is favorable at the moment. We're about to delve into yet another wonderful segment where we'll get good insights from an expert who's going to tell us more about how as farmers we can actually maximize on a production of tomatoes within the greenhouse. Join us in the next segment. Hello and welcome back to Agric Connect. We are now joined by our expert Patience Chisho, who is going to take us through mastering tomato production at an expert level. Hello Patience, how are you?
I'm good, Annette. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. So we've just gone through a very good greenhouse project in Goromonzi with our farmer, where they were growing a beautiful tomato within the greenhouse. We understand that there's variations of open field tomato production and greenhouse tomato production. Do you mind telling us what the benefits are of growing greenhouse tomato varieties over open field tomato production?
Greenhouse, you can grow year round inside the greenhouse because you can control the temperatures which are favorable for the tomato production, and also you can control the risk of pest and diseases manifestation inside the greenhouse.
So outside of these benefits of being able to control the actual erection of the greenhouse, are there benefits of having plastic greenhouses over shade net greenhouses or over glasshouse greenhouses? Is there a main difference in the types of greenhouses that we can venture into in tomato production?
Yes, there is a difference. Normally here we use plastic greenhouse, which is good in terms of climatic conditions. You can prolong your season for a longer time because you'll be able to control your temperatures in winter or in summer. And number two, you can be able also to control the water conservation inside the greenhouse. And lastly, you can also control the quality, because when we are comparing inside and outside, inside there is quality. You can control the diseases and pests mostly.
In terms of greenhouse tomato production, what would you say are the key issues or mistakes that farmers make when they are growing their greenhouse tomatoes that can actually be avoided by a greenhouse tomato farmer?
Normally farmers vanenge vachida kuti vanokumbidzana fertigation program normally, of which they don't know kuti fertigation yatiri kushandisa isusu, it's based on soil analysis. So ivo vanenge vachida kuti vouya voona the greenhouse redu matomatoes anenge ari inside ovati ndipewo chi the fertigation program, whereas it differs nenyaya yekuti it's based on soil analysis.
What else in terms of the mistakes? You've mentioned issue of soil analysis. Now we understand as farmers that it's very important to conduct a soil analysis test before planting. What else can you advise our farmers in terms of the mistakes that we're trying to address in greenhouse tomato farming?
Number two, on cultural methods, e.g. they don't usually put fertility trenches inside the greenhouse, because greenhouse tomato rinoda longer time really inside. Saka richida kuti pasi pachona pekutanga pavanenge vachigara vaise fertility trenches kuita kuti roots achona aite deep root penetration. Ndo another mistake inoitwa nema greenhouse tomato farmers.
So in essence, greenhouse tomatoes are heavy feeders. Therefore, they require us to actually have good fertility or good nutrient incorporation from the start.
Yes.
So in terms of our production, do open field tomatoes give us a more yield than greenhouse tomatoes? Can you tell us more about the yield aspect of greenhouse tomatoes and open field tomatoes?
Open field yield inogona kuita shoma compared kuma greenhouse tomatoes, because tomato rikuiswa mu greenhouse ndeye kuti anoita 1 year ari inside the greenhouse, and also tenge tichifocus on this small space ari mu greenhouse. So fertilizer yedu yatiri kuisa umomo inoita kuti ite maximize the yield. That differs from open field production.
Open field production. Yes. Thank you for that insight. Moving on to the issue of pests and diseases. Now, greenhouses are controlled environments, yes. And we understand that as farmers, but we see that there are also pests and diseases that are found within the greenhouse. Can you tell us more about these?
Firstly, tichipinda tunoisa the biosecurity measures to prevent diseases. Then chechipiri design a spraying program for both the insecticides and the fungicide spraying program. So for the past 2 weeks tinoshandisa 1 pesticide, then for the next 2 weeks to rotate another type A fungicide. ndozvatinenge tichiita.
So there's a very essential need for the rotation of chemicals to avoid resistance.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that insight. Is there any sort of treatment yamunoisa muma footpaths enyu?
Okay, footpaths edu tinoisa disinfectant inonzi iyo formalin ndo yatinoshandisa. It's not just water.
Okay, thank you very much for that insight. And how does this curb the actual introduction of diseases into the greenhouse, or there's something more that it aids with in terms of controlling disease introduction into the greenhouse?
But the disinfectant inobatsira kuti farmer ari kubva kwaari kubva ari kuda kupinda mugreenhouse medu zvirwere zvaanenge ainazvo pasi petsoka dzake dziri kusara mumafootpath umu zvobva zvaurayiwa haachakwanisi kuita carry over achipinda nazvo mugreenhouse redu.
So as a final takeaway to that farmer who has been considering greenhouse farming, what would you say right now to encourage them to get started?
Isusu tinokurudzira kuti varimi vatange kuita greenhouse, because greenhouse one haidi bigger space of land to venture. You just need a small piece of land, which is good kuma small scale farmers kuti aite venture into that. And also greenhouse maximize the yield tomato production yedu yatichida kuita.
Thank you very much. That was very good expert advice. I think I have some key takeaways that I have, and I've definitely mastered tomato production within the greenhouse. If I could, I would definitely start today. So thank you very much for your expert advice. We are grateful for that.
Thank you.
So there you have it, farmers. Tomato greenhouse farming can be a revolutionary enterprise that could change your farming game completely. It is very profitable if you invest in it the right way. So look into it as a farmer. We've been encouraged by our expert to seek out expert advice when starting off. Conduct that soil analysis test and get started right now in this revolutionary game of tomato greenhouse farming. Your greenhouse adventure awaits you, and expert advice is always there at a brim whenever you need it. Thank you very much for joining us today on this exciting episode of Mastering Tomato Greenhouse Production. My name is Annette Mtetra, your host, and I'm grateful for you joining us today. We hope to see you again in the next episode, where we touch more on real stories, real farmers, and real innovations that are coming within the nation of Zimbabwe from our farmers. Thank you very much for joining us today.